Here you go, bro.
What up? Welcome to tonight's edition of 22 MW. My name's Tony. I'm coming to you from Gene Honey Studios. Actually, I'm not. It's EBK Studios because this one sucks, unlike my good one.
Is that why you call it that?
Yeah, it is.
Have you ever explained what either of those things are or what they mean?
Nope.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
And they're both very appropriate names given the circumstances. All right. Today I'm joined by sometimes known as my eldest brother, Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, what's up?
Our buddy Scott. Yeah. Scott, how's it going?
Pretty good.
And Kurtis.
Yep, I'm
You
here
there,
too.
Kurtis? Okay.
I
All
am.
right. Let's go ahead and get into our top 22. Andrew, you want to kick it off?
Top 22.
Yeah, my top 22 is actually I've been watching the new season of Daredevil on Netflix. And I don't know, I like it. I think it's on par with the last season. I really dig I don't know the dude's name from
Charlie Cox?
that plays Predator or Punisher, sorry. Punisher.
John Barenthal. from
Yeah, I
Walking
think
Dead.
he does a really good job, and I don't know, I'm digging it. So
Yeah, I'm 4 episodes in. I'm trying to savor it and enjoy it. I've been real busy, but I'm good. I like it. All right, Scott, what do you got?
See, my top 22, I saw this movie on Hulu, and it's not on Hulu anymore. It's on Netflix, though. It's called The Barkley Marathons. I just ran across it. It just seemed like a really odd movie, but essentially it's this endurance race that takes place somewhere in Tennessee. And over 60 hours, the contestants have to run 5 marathons worth of running.
Crazy.
So 60 hours, 5 in 5 marathons. And there's like 10 miles of actual track that they have to go through. The rest is just brush and wilderness. So most years, nobody finishes it. And
When are you going to do your first one?
Probably. I like watching that stuff, but not doing it.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that goes for most people, probably. You know?
Yeah, that doesn't sound good to me. I like to run, but not like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just a really fun. It's just run by this lunatic old man. The mission is pretty much a license plate for your home state, and he takes that and like $5, and you're in. And some years nobody finishes it. They call 3 laps, which is 3 marathons worth of running, a fun run. If you do that, yay, you did a fun run. But if you do 5 laps, you actually complete it. And I think only a dozen people have done it in the 30 years they've been hosting it. So
Crazy.
it's a fun, interesting documentary. It's on Netflix, The Barkley Marathons.
All right, so check that out. All right, Kurtis, what do you got?
Mine is a game called Shovel Knight. I got it on my 3DS, but I think you could get it on most systems as a downloadable game. It takes like a lot of elements of old Nintendo games like DuckTales, Mario. There's a lot of different things like that, and kind of combines them into one really fun, really cool game with a great soundtrack. So if you have one of those systems and you can download it, I would check it out. Especially if you like old retro video games like I do.
All right, there you go. And my top 22 this week is a show that I watched all 3 seasons on Hulu. It's called Nathan for You. It's a Comedy Central show, which usually aren't very good. And this guy, he's just he's a comedian in real life, I guess, but on the show he claims like he's a graduate of some Canadian business school. And he goes to these places and he gives them these ideas that are kind of like brilliant, but they don't really work, but they are kind of smart to try and help turn their companies around. Super fun show. I definitely I recommend
like dumb Starbucks.
So a lot of them have caught like national media attention, like dumb Starbucks. But there's like one where he sells gas for cheap with a mail-in rebate, but like the rebate's not actually mail-in. You have to like climb this hill and do this scavenger hunt. Kurtis might not like it because it comes off kind of pranky, but I don't know. I think it's fun, and he sells it. He doesn't really ever let up from that
The
he thinks these are
character,
good
he
ideas.
seems pretty genuine, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our first movie. Kurtis picked this. It's from 2013. It's a documentary that can be found on Netflix. I only found the extended version.
Yeah, me too.
It's called Trophy Kids. And so when Kurtis told me about this movie, I thought it was going to be about the actual opposite of what it is. I thought it was going to be about these kids that everyone gets a trophy, but it's actually the opposite. It's about kids that are pushed very hard by their parents. And
yeah, when I first heard about it, I thought the same thing. But when I told you about it, I did know what it was about. But when the first time I heard about it, I thought the same thing.
So I'd like to get Andy's thoughts to start this out. What did you think about this this documentary, Andy?
Well, now I know that it's Kurtis that I need to punch in the face for recommending this thing. Honestly, it was a really interesting documentary. It was painful for me. It was just so hard to watch at times.
Why is that? Is that because it was too long? Is it because you didn't like the characters? You just didn't care about the subject matter?
Well, I mean, the mom who with the two tennis twins, that was enough to want to, just pull my hair out. But
yeah, she seems like a real nice lady. But the thing is here, and this goes across the board, and this is coming from a guy who is the son of beating a joke to death and is the heir to the throne. And anytime somebody just talks about the same thing nonstop, they're douchey, and you don't want to listen to them, even if it is something as cool, in my opinion, as Jesus. But I don't want to talk about football 24/7. I don't want to talk about movies 24/7, especially just one specific movie. And that's how that lady comes off. But
she was very different from the other parents, right? I mean, it was similar in the way that she was pushing her kids, but. One, her kids were obviously not near as good as she thought they were, which is kind of true for some of the other ones. But the other kids were actually like, kind of at the top of their games. Maybe not as great as their parents thought, but these kids were just, they were okay tennis players that she thought were going to be the next Williams sisters.
I really, I was thinking about this on the car ride over, and I hope this is the case, but I was just thinking, maybe she's not always like that. Maybe since there was a camera in front of her, she felt the need to pontificate. I hope that's the case. From the bottom of my heart, I hope that's the case. But she probably is like that all the time. But I hope it was just the cameras bringing that.
You saw the kids. They were like, yeah, Jesus is cool. Like that. You could just kind of tell they were sick of it.
Glory to God.
All that jazz. But I can run through. I got very few notes about this. I can run through them real quick if you really want to know. First note, first 3 minutes, I hate this already. Second one, all these parents can die is my second note. I put just a little thing about the dude complaining about pushing the golf carts up the hill.
I love that. That was my favorite part in the movie because
he was my favorite. He was my favorite.
I'm such a stickler for rules, and that I wouldn't be able to bring myself to do that. I don't think. I thought that was just hilarious.
It was laugh out loud though. Hey, are we supposed to push the golf carts up for the kids? And the guy was like, "Yeah, I think so." No, we're not supposed. He asked him the question, knowing I hate when people do that, but the way that guy did it was so funny. He was my favorite one just because he had the meekest, kind of nicest voice, but I think he was also, maybe other than the football dad, the worst one. I think didn't he actually call his daughter the B word at one point?
Yeah, that was crazy.
The only thing stopping him from beating his child is the law. That's it.
So I agree that maybe the regular version of this might have been. I didn't hate this movie by any means, but it did go on a little too long. I got it. I got the point of it. I thought it made me think, which is always fun. Because here's the question I asked myself: which is better off? I think these kids are better off, even though they have annoying parents. Once they get out in the real world and have to get a job, and they look back on this sucky time in their life, I think it's going to make life easier for them. I do think.
But can't we have a happy medium though? Does it all have to be one or the other?
Obviously, everything in life is about balance, Kurtis. But that's not what we have here. I'm trying to make the best out of this bad situation.
Okay. I started out. Sorry, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did have a note that said, that sports really can build discipline and teamwork and grow a lot of different things, but, come on, I did say that. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're overkilling it. They're overdoing it. Some of them have not honorable intentions with it, which bothers me the most, I think. But I really do think these people will be better adults than people that didn't have parents that were attentive at all.
Yeah, maybe, but it's like the basketball coach said, is like, this is child abuse. And I was like, yeah, it's absolutely child abuse. No doubt about that. But if it was done right, then I think that it would be a beneficial growing experience for these.
Well,
young
when it
people.
started out, with the football dad. I was actually on the football dad's side. Like, he was just asking the kid to pay attention. I did think it was pretty clear the kid didn't want to play football, and we could get into another debate on whether you should make kids play sports they don't want to, but let's not. I was with him. Like, hey, the kid's not paying attention. I'm coaching my son's soccer team, which is weird because I hate soccer. And I don't. But I don't care if the kids aren't the best athletes in the world. I never was. I do good to get out of bed in the morning without falling down. But I do ask that they pay attention and listen, and I think that's important, and I was with them, but then they go just way too far. and then where they're calling out the other kids, that one dad who got banned from the game's good. He's sitting there swearing up a storm in the stadium, telling other kids that they suck. Just shut up. I mean, I get what you're saying, Tony, but I don't. If their kids grow up to be total dicks like their parents are, I don't know that what you're saying is true.
Well, I mean, I don't know that these kids are. I think they see the qualities they don't like in their parents, and they'll probably stay away from those things. There's things about my dad that I don't care for and that I won't repeat in my life, and I think at least my two brothers here would probably agree with that. So
I would love for a psychiatrist to watch this movie and put their 2 cents in on what kind of therapy these kids are going to have later on in life. I mean, there's going to be something up with these kids, and I don't know what, just because I'm not familiar with that. But there's going to be, I don't know, either they're going to be hesitant towards authority, or they're going to be way too lackadaisical for the kids. They're going to grow up to be not good.
I actually thought this was the worst of both parent cases. The overbearing a-hole parents, but also the parents who just have to be around their kids 24 hours a day. I thought this was the worst of both worlds with these parents. And that these kids are not going to grow up to know, or when they get on their own, they're not going to know how to operate because they've never been on their own. They have their dad screaming at them 24 hours a day.
They're probably going to have some self-esteem issues for sure, where they don't think that they're ever good enough in relationships or whatever.
Okay, a little bit of that is fine, I think, but I don't know. I think it's all going to depend. I would like to see an update in 7 years, maybe not as long, but see where these guys are at. But I don't know. I thought it was a fun watch for me. I'm going to give it 3 winners out of 5.
Yeah, I'm with Tony. I was interested in it, even when I found out it was really about, because we've talked about it before, walked that line between Whiplash and the other end of just being like everything's great and giving everyone a trophy and everyone's super good at everything all the time. This made me think about the other end is not being so great as the end I complain about the most. I'll let you guess which is which. But I thought this was a great movie. I thought it was well done, great watch. These guys have done some other documentaries I want to check out too, I think. So 4 out of 5 for me.
I think that it was a good documentary. It was very interesting. For me, again, it was just really hard to watch, and because of that, I got to give it 2 throwing balls at the furniture out of 5.
I know. I mean, did you see the dexterity in those kids? It was unbelievable. They edited that part so well, where she's saying those things, and they've got those kids just like, any 1 or 2-year-old would throw a ball, throw it, and it goes up behind them. That was great editing.
There's a baby picture of the tennis kids where they're babies, and the mom just put tennis rackets in their hand. And it's like, look what God wants them to do. That's not God, lady. That's you. You put the tennis racket in their hand. But I enjoyed it. I'm just trying to figure out. I think the good question is, like, who's this movie for? I think it's great for people like Kurtis, who's going to have kids coming into sports, just to maybe as a cautionary tale, just like
Okay.
don't do that. Don't be that bad. I think that's great for them. But the weird thing is, like, the overall lesson for this movie isn't that great because, remember that basketball coach that was fired, and then we all felt empathy for that guy. Well, he got fired, but the next season with the new coach, they won a championship. So there was no lesson learned there. The evil I was going to say yelling dad, but which one's that? But the douchey basketball dad that was yelling got kicked out of games. He seemed to go easy on his kid towards the end of the film, but the kid just wound up playing for a Division II school, so he didn't succeed, and he eased up. And then, let's see, who else? Okay, and then quiet talking Tiger Woods. Yeah, that dad, we all saw what was wrong with him. It showed in the update that, his daughter went on to win, a golfing championship later on, granted without the parents on the course. So
Yeah, I thought that was a good line they put in there.
yeah, but when it seems like when the parents have eased off, the kids don't win.
Yeah.
And when they're on them, they do win. So the underlying message there is, I don't know. Were Kobe Bryant's parents like that? I don't know.
I think Tiger's dad was, right?
Oh yeah, that guy was insane.
Williams sisters too.
Yeah, but overall, I give it like I'd say like 3 footballs out of 5 footballs. I enjoyed it. I think it's a good watch for parents that are thinking about putting their kids into sports, just to ease up a couple of notches if they even think they're going to be like this. So.
Yep. Life's about balance.
Yep.
All right. Up next, from 2015, directed by Sean Anders, starring Will Ferrell, Mark Wahlberg, Linda Cardellini, Thomas Hayden Church, and Hannibal Buress. Also featuring Paul Scheer and Bill Burr in there for a little bit. It's called Daddy's Home. I got to stop doing this. I got to stop picking Will Ferrell movies. I don't know why I did this. Like we did that Kevin Hart one. I don't even remember when that was, but it seems like I just watched a Will Ferrell movie yesterday. And I used to like some of his movies, but I don't know. This just was blah, nothing. Nothing redeemable here. Not funny, not interesting. I think it did kind of, I think to me at least, it made me think about how parents nowadays are either not around at all or constantly hovering and controlling everything. There's no parents or moms like me, Kurtis, and Andy had that come home, y'all guys figure it out. I gotta call my sister, and if you come to the door, I'm gonna snap in your face. I'm so she says, "Oh, I didn't do that," and I'm like, "No, Mom, I appreciate that." Parents are lame. I didn't want to hang out with my parents. I want to hang out with other kids. So, what'd you think, Kurt?
I actually kind of liked it.
No way.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I laughed out loud several times.
No
at this movie.
way.
Yeah, and I hate Will Ferrell, but it was nice to see him play someone who, in this movie, anyone jump in if I'm wrong, he played someone of at least average intelligence and maybe even above average intelligence. Even in that Get Hard movie where he's supposed to playing some billionaire who's a genius, everything he said was stupid. He just I'm not saying he was a genius in this movie, but he wasn't just he took his shirt off and his pants off a lot, which I can know without. But for the most part, he was playing a normal guy, and the joke wasn't constantly look how stupid I am.
Okay.
The joke was maybe sometimes I'm kind of weak, and definitely that juxtaposition to Mark Wahlberg. I don't know. It kind of worked for me. Is this a great movie with great characters that I fell in love with and can't wait to watch again? Absolutely not. But as far as Will Ferrell movies go, this is probably about as good as it gets for me. And I laughed at this movie several times, shockingly so. I did not go into this movie thinking that would happen. I kind of liked it.
What about you, Scott? Where are you coming in at this?
Well, you're not going to like me either because I kind of enjoyed it. It was fun. I mean, it starts out a little slow. It's basically just alpha male versus beta male, and I think Mark Wahlberg did a good job as being a straight man. I don't know if he ever can do comedy where he's doing broad stuff, but he's always a good straight man. I don't know if that means he doesn't get the jokes at all, But, he's a good straight man. And I just like the way it kind of gradually built and escalated to just this ludicrous level. Like, when it started out, I didn't like Thomas Hayden Church's character, and his little... His first, like, dumb little side is like, what's this crap? But as they got more absurd, I started to enjoy that, And I want to give, like, a lot of props to Hannibal Buress. He brought in this dumb little side character that he had in the background. I thought he was absolutely hilarious, Anytime he popped up, I thought it was really funny.
Yeah, I'm not usually a fan of his, and because of what he did to Bill Cosby. I'm kidding. But I thought that was maybe the best part of the movie, that the way they tied his character in there, kind of the story, the ridiculousness of him moving in and always looking for stuff in the refrigerator and stuff. I don't know. If there was one redeeming moment, I have to agree that was what it was.
Yeah, at first I was kind of like disappointed. I was like, oh, Hannibal Buress just here for 3 seconds. They do kind of like a race joke and he's gone. But no, Mark Wahlberg invites him in and he lives with a family and he always throws in his 2 cents and it's pretty darn funny every time he does, Yeah. But overall, I enjoyed it. It just got crazier and crazier. One of the main points I didn't like in the movie, and I don't like it in any of these comedies, is the absurd CGI.
Oh god, there were some
accident.
real bad
I thought the special effects were amazing.
There are
The
2 scenes in
GoPro
particular that look awful. I mean, they look.
The GoPro skateboarding one is like insulting. Like they did it bad on purpose, and I don't like that.
I don't think we're supposed to take that one remotely seriously. I hope not, But just, Will Ferrell is CGI flying ragdoll of a body going everywhere. I didn't like that. But, the more grounded moments and the way it built to where I did genuinely feel bad for Will Ferrell's character at certain points. And I enjoyed it overall. And for a minute, I was thinking like, this would be a bad movie I could watch with my mom and my dad. And then I remembered all the dick jokes. A lot of dick jokes. So I'm not sure. Maybe it is a PG-13. Yeah, I don't know if I'd have like a young kid watch me, or definitely not old parents. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I actually wrote in my notes that because I liked it too. And I texted Scott. I was like, Scott, we're not going to talk about it. We'll save it for the podcast. But I think we're both going to be on the same page with this movie, and we absolutely are. But I wrote this because I think that this is absolutely a PG-13. It felt like a soft PG-13. It felt like I thought it was PG at first. But I'm like, no, of course,
there is a scene where a man picks up another man's penis, by the way.
Yeah, indeed. And that's where I started scratching my head and having to Google to see what.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah.
In case the listeners out there are thinking about having this for Family Friday night. You can't.
He was super complimentary during it.
I mean, you can't see it, but you can tell that's what's happening.
You know it's there.
Well, see, it's funny because the whole reason I'm watching this the whole time, and I'm kind of thinking about Kurtis and his son. And to me, it feels like it's a different generation. That maybe this is the PG-13 kind of movie for a different. I don't know if you would watch this with Gene or if he would even get the all the penis jokes and all that stuff. But I could see you watching it with him because you're kind of like, not super strict or super anal about things, and you kind of let things slide. But I don't know, just assuming that you would.
Yeah, but that's mostly laziness on my part.
Wait, you were telling me before we started recording that Gene's being grounded right now, so maybe this is a good punishment. Make him watch this movie.
Again, I thought it was pretty good. I Mark Wahlberg, the way that character was just so conniving and such a con man and got everyone to do what he wanted and
he just kept screwing with him
and kind of made you almost like thank him for it and then he told him his whole plan there kind of about halfway or 2/3 through the movie. I don't know. I thought this was a solid.
Rate it. I want to hear your rating.
It's a 3 out of 5, but it's a solid 3. Yeah, it's not a bad movie at all.
I'm ditto on that. The 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely 3 Bill Burrs dancing out of 5 for me.
That was a nice surprise. Like, hey, Bill Burr's in
me
it.
too. I was like, Bill Burr.
Well, it was good to see him like try and hide his gingerness. I appreciate it. I'm giving this 1 bunch of funky out of 5.
Not that
Don't
bad.
watch it. Don't waste your time.
No, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
I will point this out. Did you guys plan on this? There's a lot of family dynamics in each one of these movies. people dealing with the parents and children. I didn't know if that was planned
Okay.
beforehand, but
yeah, it wasn't, but good point.
Yeah.
And another thing that Daddy's Home shares with our next movie is they both are rated 30% by the critics. So up next from 2016, directed by Zack Snyder, starring Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Diane Lane, Lawrence Fishburne, Jesse Eisenberg, Jeremy Irons, Ray Fisher, Jason Momoa, Holly Hunter, Michael Shannon, Gal Gadot, Science Jesus, and Ezra Miller is in there as well. It's called Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Is Michael Shannon actually in this movie, or just like a dummy that looks like Michael Shannon?
I heard he was on set, so he filmed at least a little something
Yeah,
for him.
I know he did show up and film some stuff because he talked. He got locked in a porta potty and something about giant flippers.
Yeah.
He I don't know. He was he had all these stories coming out about it. But why don't you start us off, Curtis? What did you think about this highly anticipated movie?
I know, like, a lot. I guess 30% is not the worst, but I have seen some reviews that are exceptionally crapping on this movie. I didn't think it was good, but I didn't think it was terrible either. It looked terrible, just like Man of Steel. This movie looked awful. The CGI looked awful. If it looked better than Man of Steel, it's only because it was completely shot everything at dark and there was no daylight scenes like there were in Man of Steel where you could really see how terrible it looked. I don't know why they're so far behind on the CGI, and if it's just a Zack Snyder thing or if it's a Warner Brothers thing. I
think he wanted it to look that way, right? I mean, to me, like, that's the only way it could look that way. He wanted it to kind of look like a comic book, I guess. Like, I think that he was kind of backed into a corner here. Like, they're trying to set themselves apart from Marvel, trying to set themselves apart from the Nolan trilogy. And I think that kind of forced their hands on a lot of things, and to include this. And that's kind of why I give the look of it a pass, because it kind of all looked the same. It all kind of blended well. There were some weird shots, like where like it's just like the whole shot is just an explosion. You can't even tell what's blowing up. Like, that seemed like really early 80s to me.
But no one was around. I don't know if you caught that, but they like to mention no one was around when stuff exploded.
They did, because they didn't want to catch that crap again. Which, again, I didn't bring this up in our Man of Steel review, but I always thought that was a really stupid argument. Like, people were upset about this like they were real people, but really, like, he saved the rest of the world. It was just one city, dog.
Well, the Man of Steel thing to me was always because the movie made it pretty clear, and I don't want to get too far off track. The movie made it pretty clear, like, he could have taken that fight somewhere else, and he chose not to. He chose to have it in Metropolis and knock over a lot of buildings and kill that little girl's mother that Bruce Wayne found and cripple Wally there. So I think that's why people really hated it, is because they made it. It made it. The movie showed that he could take that fight elsewhere, and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna have it in the middle of the city."
I don't know that it's quite that cut and dry. I think you're being a little obnoxious. But Andrew, what did you think about Batman v Superman?
This movie was so bad for me. I could have sworn, I swear that you're gonna say it's the best one of the the franchise.
What, so out of Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, it's the best? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Like,
or
there's
just
only
any
two.
Superman. I know, but I'm just comparing it. I felt similar. It was worse than Batman. Dark Knight Rises, which you love that movie, and I can't stand it. And this was kind of worse than that for me. It was a slog. It was so boring for me.
A really weird way of telling a story, right? Like, they constantly go into like dream sequences and things that don't exist. Yeah. And honestly, I think my biggest complaint with this movie is like it should have just been Batman v Superman. If you left out the Dawn of Justice stuff, it probably would have been a more solid, easier watch. That stuff just pegged in there every 35 minutes got weird.
And if you got rid of Lex Luthor versus Holly Hunter, I think the movie also would have improved. What was that? That subplot was completely useless.
Yeah, it went nowhere.
No payoff, yeah.
And she does like 5 spit takes before she realized, like, wait, is that a jar of piss? wait, is that a jar of piss? Wait,
oh.
Is that a jar of piss? She doesn't they harp on it like 3 times, and I just. Yeah, God bless Holly Hunter. I love her. She's a great actress, but that just did not need to be in this movie. It just made a disjointed movie even more so.
After the look, the second worst thing was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
God,
he was so terrible. I've never been a fan of his. I know Tony likes him and stuff. I've never been a fan of his. That character and him playing it was just nails on a chalkboard every time he opened his mouth.
Well, you know it. He wasn't playing Lex Luthor, right? He was playing his son, right?
Like,
No, that's right.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought you were making a joke, but you weren't.
So if you know anything about Alexander Luthor, which I don't know a whole lot about, but I guess he was playing it. I guess he was trying to be, I don't know, Heath Ledger or something. It was really annoying.
Yeah, I hated it, but I will say I'm sure the reason they hired Jesse Eisenberg is they wanted pretty much like a maniac Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sure that's why they hired him. It's all social network, and this is what we want the new Lex Luthor,
which I think is a
be.
good idea. I actually think this movie is really well casted. I think that was a good choice. Was it executed perfectly? I don't think so. But and it was weird that they actually gave Lawrence Fishburne like way more lines in this than Man of Steel. It felt. I actually liked him in this movie, and he's barely in it. I love Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought that was great. I remain to like Henry Cavill as Superman. I think he kills it.
Yeah, I got no problems with the act. I think the actors were very competent in this movie.
I did find it weird that, like, in real life, Henry Cavill only dates, like, 19-year-olds, and then, like, in this movie, Amy Adams looks like she's, like, 49. And so, but that's acting for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the new Superman. I like Henry Cavill, but they just didn't give him a lot to do. He has, like, just a few scenes. Probably his main scene where we're kind of getting his inner thoughts is that weird dream sequence with Kevin Costner where he's on the mountain talking about how the horses died. It's actually very similar to like when Clarice walks into Hannibal Lecter's. It's like, do you hear the lambs screaming, Clarice?
Yeah, I think that was the weirdest of all of those kind of cutaway dreams, which there were many of. And before I get into spoilers, I do want to say I love this movie. I did. I'm opposite of y'all.
Wow.
Like, y'all can have y'all's Will Ferrell garbage.
Called it.
I'm gonna stick with this. I liked it. I wish I could have seen it again before we reviewed. I'm gonna go see it again today. I really enjoyed this movie.
More power to you, man.
But I understand that it is not for everyone. So for me, I kind of felt like this was one of those, like, a lot of people love those garbage Transformers movies. A lot of people love those garbage Fast and the Furious movies. And for me, this hit home. I love the character of Batman. I love the character of Superman. I thought this movie made some good choices. I thought it was well acted. They didn't tell a million stupid jokes like those Marvel movies as of late.
It didn't tell any jokes.
No, it had one joke.
Diane Lane told a joke.
Yeah,
the jar of pee was a joke, right? I think.
The only joke is the Diane Lane Batman joke, in my opinion.
Yeah. So but there weren't a million stupid jokes like in Age of Ultron or Ant-Man. I liked this movie. That's its biggest fault that it takes itself too seriously and is telling these ridiculous stories. I'll say again that the fact that the Marvel universe doesn't take itself serious is why it succeeds so much. This is taking itself. You like this tons and tons of stupid jokes.
I mean, they go overboard on it.
I am talking to a
sometimes.
Will Ferrell fan here, so I guess that's what I.
They
can
go
expect.
overboard on it sometimes, and sometimes they're not so funny. I have something I want to talk about after we're done with Marvel versus DC, but I'll come back to that. For this movie, I didn't think it was terrible. There were parts of it actually I enjoyed, but there were also parts where I was just like, come on, get on with it. It's torture porn, destruction porn rather, again, at the end, although I guess there is some torture porn in there too, where we're just going to blow up everything, except this time we'll casually mention no one's around. If I casually mention, I mean mention it every 15 seconds. I did like the Batman Superman fight. I thought the reasons for the fight were okay. I wish they had been better. I thought they were kind of there, and I thought
they were good.
They were okay. They were probably maybe as well as you could have done. I don't know. I thought the way the fight ended was stupid. I didn't like that. He's ready to. Well, we're not talking spoilers, but I did think the way.
Let's go ahead and go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, stop here. And or if you just like spoilers, I don't give a crap. Stay.
I don't think this movie changes too much if it's spoiled for you, but
No, I think the ending's kind of surprising, right? Who saw that coming?
You know what? I wanted to talk about that because I didn't see it coming. I hadn't had it spoiled for me, and I was surprised by how little I cared. And the reason I didn't care for one I'm going to come back to later, but the other reason is I didn't think it was for real, and you kind of find out at the end, yeah, it probably wasn't. And I never thought for a second that he was really dead.
But they did it the right way, I think. Like, they didn't do it like the Marvel way where, like, at the end of Avengers, it looks like Tony Stark's going to die, but Robert Downey Jr. just signed up for more movies. They've actually gone the other route, saying, like, yeah, we're not going to make a Man of Steel 2 anymore.
I thought we just talked about this, and they haven't.
Okay, so it's unknown. There's that variable of unknown as opposed to.
I think they're never going to do their Justice League movie.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But that doesn't mean that Superman has to be there at the beginning. He may be at the end of Justice League Part 2, but I don't know. I thought it was a good choice. I thought it was a bold choice. I liked it.
I was surprised by how little I cared about it because I thought I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, I didn't know this was going to happen. And for some reason, I just really don't care. And I think it's because I knew it was just kind of bogus.
Well, it was funny you mentioned not care, that there is a line that Lawrence Fishburne says, like, no one cares about Clark Kent versus or battle against Batman.
Yeah,
and I just yelled out I just whispered to Scott, be like, I know I don't, because it's so boring by this point.
The geography of this movie super confused me, and I was like, are they just across the street from each other? And then finally it says, oh yeah, they are.
You didn't know that? Like that I don't know. I thought that was everywhere leading up to the movie. They had put out that they're essentially in just different sides of the bay, which I thought was a cool change, having them that close together, and one's kind of prosperous and one of them's kind of sucky. I
didn't know it until the spotlight went
out.
I was like, well,
I didn't either.
There's Gotham over there. Okay, well, whatever.
Yeah,
that's the least of my problem. That's not
they
even
made
a
big deal about it. All right, let's get to the top of your list of problems then, Scott.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just the first half of the movie to me was just deathly slow, and I was just really bored with it. Not a lot was going on. It just kind of kept cutting back and forth from the Batman stuff was okay, where he's kind of sleuthing, but then it would cut to the Holly Hunter, Lex Luthor little mind game deal, and then you go to Clark a little bit, but it was and the thing that really took me out were one of many dream sequences. There were just way too many of them. Then you have I guess I didn't mind this scene, but it was just completely unnecessary for the movie. The online they're calling it the nightmare. The future post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
He
just wanted to do a visual Zack Snyder scene, and that was his way of doing it.
Yeah, but it was completely. It doesn't come up at any other point later in the movie. It's not referenced or anything. It's just like setting the groundwork for this future universe, but it was completely unnecessary for this movie. And it could have been, that little warning could have come into play during the fight, to like save Batman or something. But no, it had nothing to do with that. It wasn't referenced anywhere else in the movie, but it looked cool. I will say that. I thought it was neat. Andy agrees with me on this. Batman and Duster. It's cool. Yeah, it looks neat.
Yeah, I thought that was like my favorite part, was just Batman and the Duster in the desert.
But that part was weird.
Really kind of a pointless scene, but I thought it looked good and it felt like Zack Snyder for sure. And I want to make one more point. It's like, so if you ask me, would I rather watch Man of Steel and Batman v Superman or Iron Man 1 and The Incredible Hulk, I would choose the DC 10 times out of 10. It's not like their first goes at it were amazing either.
Iron Man is ridiculously better than both of those movies, but Incredible Hulk isn't that great. So, but I would easily watch Iron Man and have to sit through Incredible Hulk.
But Iron Man has the joke ending. Yeah, let's end every superhero movie with a death ray. Okay, good. Yeah, it's a terrible ending.
Both of these movies had terrible endings.
It wasn't a death ray, Kurtis. The hero didn't just get lucky with a death ray.
At least Iron Man did end with a 20-minute solo of Amazing Grace. It just kept on going on, and we all know it's BS. We've all read the comic books that the death of Superman is killed by what's his face, the monster thingy.
Doomsday.
Doomsday. I was going to call him Apocalypse. Doomsday. He's killed by Doomsday. And, same black coffin, and we're just waiting for that slight reveal that Superman will rise again like the Christ figure that he is. And he will the next movie because we saw the dirt levitate over his stupid coffin, And, it just, the whole movie is just so, its tone is just so somber and slow, and it did not grab me at all. I just want, to have seriousness is fine, but, it just had the tone of a tragedy without any comedy in it.
Well,
there
when
weren't any light moments.
When you try to take yourself this seriously, it gets really hard to have a scene where you're opening up files that Lex Luthor has and seeing all these different people with all these different powers. They just don't go together to be this serious. It worked with Batman in The Dark Knight because Batman is a real person. But when you're going to have all these ridiculous superheroes with all these ridiculous superpowers, which everyone in this group loves, I'm not crapping on them, to go this super somber, serious route, I don't think it's a great direction.
I think they needed to take a different direction. Again, they had to do something different than we've seen to create their own unique identity for this universe. That being said, I hate Ezra Miller. I just love Grant Gustin as the Flash so much, and I hate Ezra Miller. I just hate him.
Well, here's the biggest difference between this and MCU, and granted, it's 12 movies to 2, so it's not fair. These movies are taking beloved characters and putting them in movies. MCU has loved characters. It has characters we love. Everyone loves Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Most people, Tony, you and I know, love Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. We can't wait for Civil War to see what's going to happen to these characters because we love them. These DC movies are just taking beloved characters and cramming them in movies, and I'm not even saying they're doing everything terribly, but they're not. All the characters in this movie, even Wonder Woman, were just kind of there, and they're brooding and they're mad, and even the Batman v Superman in the first half, which one's the bad guy and which one's the good guy? Yeah, you want to leave it open to interpretation, but they're both mad at each other for the same thing, which I'm not saying you can't do, but in this it just really didn't work.
Fine. That's a ridiculous critique, and you're just being silly at this point. But again, You said it there. You said it exactly right. Like, after 2 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people thought Iron Man was cool, but people didn't really fall in love with Iron Man until Avengers. And that was the 3rd time we had seen him. And no one ever talks about Ed Norton as the Incredible Hulk.
But the foundation was there for Tony Stark. There's no foundation here. These characters are just brooding, mad at the world, somber characters who are, just Batman's like, we got to get the team together. I don't know why yet, but we've got to.
Well, I think
Start rounding them up. And every character's like that. Wonder Woman's like that too.
Yeah, I admit Zack Snyder's not a great storyteller, but I think this movie worked for fans of the characters.
I'm a fan of the characters, and it didn't work for me.
Yeah, one of my main problems with Superman in this movie is I rewatched Man of Steel with Andy earlier in the week, and that whole movie, it's like, I don't know if I could be Superman. I don't know. And then here's this movie, it's like, I still don't know if I should be Superman. I still don't know. Everybody's kind of hating on me. And it was just kind of more of the same, and they didn't give him enough to do. As far as when the Congress gets blown up, that Superman not saving the day there is just really annoying, because that's what Superman does. He's like, what's that? Ticking? Boom, saves. I mean, that's the main thing Superman does. He scans things with his X-ray vision, and he saves the day. And he very easily could have, and he didn't. And it kind of makes him, and afterward he felt bad about it, as he should, because he should have saved the day.
Yeah, why not establish one of these characters as a Boy Scout? Why do they all have to have a dark side? Chris Evans was the Boy Scout, and now he's going to be the 10 movies later, he's going to be the rebel. Like, why are all these characters exactly the same? And how is that?
You want these movies to be the exact same?
No,
movies
I don't.
As the Marvels.
I want them to be. I want
them
to be good movies. I want them to be movies that have characters I care about and can't wait to see more of. And that didn't happen here.
Me and we'll let's see Suicide Squad, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
Fair enough.
I mean, that looks like that movie's gonna rock our socks off. I don't know. This movie did for me. Again, I didn't really think it would, and especially like Tuesday-ish when I started seeing the reviews and stuff, I'm like, oh no. But it sold me. I liked it. I really liked it.
One thing I can say about this movie is I can credit it to probably my higher review of Daddy's Home, just because I saw Daddy's Home last night, like the night after I saw it, and I'm like, oh, like a movie that's actually trying to entertain you. This is nice.
That's ridiculous. Andrew's not welcome here anymore. I guess I should say true fans of the characters that don't like Will Ferrell movies. How's that sound?
I will say, like, as far as, like, I really did not care for this movie, but I will say some things that I liked or had potential. I liked Ben Affleck as Batman in general. You know, I think he got a lot of potential there. He wasn't a bad Batman, you know.
Yeah, I didn't think he was bad at all. I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't
Second best all time.
I didn't think it was great. It didn't blow me away, but I didn't think he was bad either.
Yeah, and I'll definitely watch another Batman movie if it's not directed by Zack Snyder. If Ben Affleck takes reins, just anybody, you know, just take that character and run with it, fine. I did think the branding stuff was kind of extreme, you know, where he was like branding criminals, you know. I didn't really mind him killing people. Whatever, it's new Batman.
Well,
I'll roll with that.
I
But
wanted to ask
the
Tony
branding,
about that. Did they get Batman or did they not get Batman?
For me, it was kind of there, but not kind of not there as well. But I had watched the trailer for the Lego Batman movie prior, so it was a huge step in the right direction. But what I do like is that you have an old Batman and a young Superman. So you have Superman still, like Scott pointed out, still trying to figure out himself as a superhero, and then you have this old Batman that's been doing it for a long time. And
I really wish he had figured it out by this movie, though. Wish he knew who he was by that movie. Because last movie he was all thinking about this. Now he's thinking about it again. He's so damn wishy-washy, this character, you know. Okay. Hopefully when he's resurrected, he'll, you know, get his stuff together after he talks to Russell Crowe in heaven or something. I don't know.
It'd probably be like, probably should have just stayed in the ground.
Ridiculous. All right, I'm giving this 4 fashionable males out of 5.
I when this was good, it was really solid, but it constantly fell flat on the good parts. I don't think this is. I think this is very watchable. If you're a comic book fan, I would say check this out. But at the end of the day, it's just not that great. 2 out of 5.
It's no Daddy's Home.
Yeah, I'm with Kurtis on this one. I give it 2 batarangs out of 5 batarangs. Just not a fan. Just super slow, super somber. A lot of montages, a lot of just slow plotting scenes, and it bored me a lot. And it just kept on going on. I think maybe you have a good movie in there if you cut out about an hour. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm with Kurtis and Scott. This is going to be 2 Granny's Peach Teas out of 5.
What do you expect out of the rated R cut we're going to get on Blu-ray and DVD? Like, I don't really even see, I didn't see the necessity of it before, and I definitely don't see it now. Like,
it's supposed to have the Jenna Malone stuff they filmed, which is
okay.
I don't know where that's even.
She's going to be naked the whole time?
She's going to be she's going to be Barbara Gordon. So
yeah, she's Oracle.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. I mean, are they just going to replace Alfred with her? I don't know. I don't even want to watch that when it comes out. It's supposed to be 30 minutes long. It's supposed to be 3 hours.
Oh my gosh. There was stuff that should have been left on the cutting room floor in the movie. This is the stuff that wasn't good enough for the regular theatrical release.
Well, people love freaking Zack Snyder's 3-hour cut of Watchmen, and that movie's garbage. So there you go. I don't know.
People also hate that movie. That's one of those movies like people really enjoy or really hate. Like there's not.
I'm on the really hate side. I love the soundtrack, but not the movie.
Watchmen's a weird one, just because it seems like he did almost exactly what the comics said, but to me it just didn't work. So
it's introducing too many characters. It was Fantastic Four from 2002 or whatever on steroids. Just more characters and more introductions, and I don't know, too much.
Maybe if it was a mini series, you could flesh stuff out. That would work.
Yeah, they've talked about doing that for HBO or Showtime, and that might actually be really good. But
I will say this movie, it did not do the thing I was most concerned about trying to take on too much. The Wonder Woman was a little forced, but even that, it fit in there. I thought everyone and every character fit in there, had a place, was somewhat well established. There was a lot of places where they could have done a better job, but they didn't try to cram too much in, which was always my biggest fear about this movie.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Again, I think Last Dawn of Justice would have been better, but it wasn't overkill like I thought it might be. But
I could have done without the computer Flash cyborg Aquaman scene though.
Yeah, but that was the most tacked on scene in this movie. Just like we got to tease him. If that was the end credits scene, I wouldn't have minded it so much. That should have been like the post credits,
good point.
which there was none.
It's right it was in a really bad spot, right?
Yeah.
Where wasn't it right before the fight starts? Like where they set up this fight, and then it goes to this just weird scene that's set up. That's only there for fan service / setting up extra movies, and I'm like, I thought we were gonna watch Batman and Superman fight or what?
Yeah,
But I
it
mean,
might as well have just been Batman scrolling through YouTube as far as I'm concerned.
But I mean, like from second one, you kind of got that. This is typical Zack Snyder not telling great. Like he's doing things out of order just to do them. Like he's showing the funeral and then the death and then back to the he's just segmenting things for the sake of doing it. It doesn't feel like Tarantino or even Tommy Wiseau good storytelling.
I mean, it looks financially, from what I read last night, this is looking like it's going to do fine, but critically, obviously not so much. Are they going to keep Zack Snyder in charge of this?
I mean, 73% from the audience, nothing to shake a stick at.
We'll definitely know by next weekend. This weekend, the diehard's going to watch it. Their word of mouth is going to spread out, and it could plummet next weekend, or it could, keep on being strong. I hope this doesn't kill the franchise, because I would like to see more from Batman. Wonder Woman, they're already making her movie right now as we speak, and I didn't mind her character. We just didn't really. We don't know anything about her. She looks kind of cool.
It'd be really weird if they weren't making the movie and they still had that picture with Chris Pine in it, like he was just hurting so bad.
But for me personally, I never cared to watch this movie ever again, ever. But Deadpool, I would watch probably 3 or 4 times to go back to the theater to watch that. I haven't, but I would.
I'm willing to give this movie a second chance, but it's got to be 6 months from now when it's on DVD. But first watch.
1:30, I'll be giving it another chance.
All right.
I feel like, as far as reviewing this movie on a podcast, I really felt like I should have watched it twice, but I really did not want to. I definitely did not want to give them an extra $10. If I had a free burned copy, maybe over the course of several hours, just pausing it, going to the bathroom and crying and then coming back. But this is one other thing. This is just completely side note. It's not good or bad, but I really noticed how Batman was setting up to fight Superman. That reminded me very much of the end of Predator. Like when Schwarzenegger's getting ready and setting up the spear, and then Schwarzenegger lights a big bonfire while Superman lights a bat signal. It was very similar to that, and that's not a good thing or bad thing, just an odd comparison,
Maybe a little homage there.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we got coming up next week, Curtis?
Next week, we'll be looking at Pee-wee's Big Holiday, which is on Netflix. Finally, we're going to watch Legend. We had that on the schedule about 4 or 5 months ago. We're finally going to get to watch that with Tom Hardy. And The Bronze, which is in theaters now, I believe.
Another movie we had on the schedule several times that just didn't come out. Now it's finally out, so we're going to watch it and review it next week. I appreciate you, Andy and Scott, being here. It was fun to have them.
Yeah,
and then
thanks.
Curtis, as
Appreciate
always. But until next time, gotta go, son.
Pay attention.